This is Rostra, the St. Theodore Guerin Junior Classical League podcast, where we bring the lessons of classical study into the light for the benefit of all.
Welcome back to another episode of Rostra. We're excited. This time we've got Maddalena Sansone here with us. And Maddalena, you're talking about Roman monuments, is that right?
Yes.
Roman monuments. And this is something that so many people like to go to see when they take vacations and trips and so forth. So I'm really not sure where you're going to go with this. So I'm excited to see what you've got. So talk to us a little bit.
So I've actually been to Rome before, and I've seen all the monuments, and I was just kind of interested how they were built and how they came to be.
Yeah. But before you even go on, when did you get to go to Rome?
Last summer of 2023.
Summer 2023, so like a family trip, I'm guessing. Okay, so you got to go to Rome, spend some time there. What were some of the monuments that you saw while you were in Rome?
We didn't go inside it, but from a distance we saw the Colosseum, and there were a lot of the Roman ruins around. And we saw parts of the Roman Forum, but not completely all of it.
Sure. Well, and obviously there's so much to see in Rome. You can't do it all, and certainly in a short time. But Colosseum famous. You mentioned ruins. That's something that we talk about in Latin classes often. These ancient buildings that are partly, and that's what you get when you record during a school day. Sometimes we get a bell in the background. But you get these buildings that are partly damaged over time, but they're still really important to history and to us understanding culture. So tell us a little bit more. Why do we even have these things?
First of all, they built all the arches, and arches were actually really important to Roman architecture because you could tell parts of the Colosseum were built off of that, and each arch was built built by an emperor and was named after them.
So I have joked for years, and I honestly don't think that my wife or my family will honor this. When I die, I've always laughed and said, I want a triumphal arch, like the Roman emperors had. These guys, so they would build these big arches, not really part of any other building, right? Just kind of standing out there, just kind of, free individual structures, but as a way to commemorate stuff that they have done. So you saw some of those.
Yep. While
you were in Rome. Okay, so you've got the triumphal arches of the emperors. What else have you got?
We saw many statues. They were all kind of resembling not only just the history and culture of it, but they were just resembling art in general.
And again, the statues, oh my goodness, we got so many of those. A lot of times commemorating military victories or again, emperors, leaders, things of that nature. What else do you have?
There were different Roman ruins categories, so the amphitheaters, baths, circuses, gardens, porticos, theaters. There are lots of others, and they're just kind of scattered fragments in some of the places.
Yeah, and I like it. So you got the big things like the arches, you get the big things like the statues, and then all these other things as well, right? And sometimes even, like you say, just fragments of stuff, partial remnants of things, and sometimes archaeologists and historians have to kind of figure out maybe what this is or what it might have been a part of. Yeah. What was anything that really impressed you personally when you were in Rome?
I kind of liked how there was things that are because it's 2,000 years old, and things were still standing even if they were totally completely destroyed.
It is amazing. And we often talk, of course, we're here in the Midwest, and a couple of harsh winters will really just destroy some of our roads to where they're not even, you can't even drive on them. Here you got stuff that's 2,000 years old. And even though parts of it have been destroyed, broken, whatever, we still have stuff that's recognizable and that you can enjoy. So why do you think the Romans built stuff like this, from, again, the arches to the statues, you mentioned porticos and other structures. Why do you think they did that?
I get they were feeling that they were trying to like build stuff so that other cultures could like develop off of that.
Definitely. And you've been fortunate to go to Rome. I've always said to people, if you can't go to Rome itself, go to a city like Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You know, go to New York, go to Chicago, go to Indianapolis, because you're going to find stuff like that in terms of some of the architecture, exactly what you said. Other cultures have kind of taken off of the Romans and built similar things. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anything else you got there, and I know you've put in some research on this. Anything else that you really want to share with the audience about Roman monuments?
Back to the arches, it wasn't just the Colosseum. Like, there were lots of other things that kind of took off the structure of it. So, like, there were, like, the bridges and the aqueducts were like that. Many temples were kind of built like that.
Yeah, and especially, I want to touch on the bridges and aqueducts that you just said, and connecting that with the Colosseum. I think a lot of listeners to this are going to be able to picture the Colosseum, and mm-hmm. It's a big round place where you've got your gladiator games and kind of like a stadium today. But you think about all those arches that go around, and that's what supported the aqueducts, that's what supported bridges. And Romans really were just great developers of the arch. And again, you mentioned the triumphal arches. But the arch as an architectural thing. Do you know what was one of the main materials that the Romans used?
Some were made out of bricks, some were kind of just kind of like rocks and stuff, maybe grinded up.
Yeah, stone and especially concrete. The Romans were huge into use of that. And so they made these really strong structures with the arches that supported things. So, yeah, definitely. Anything else?
I don't think so.
I tell you what, you have brought to life some of these things, and what I would encourage, I think, listeners, man, if you can, go to Rome. Did you have a good time?
It was fun, yeah.
How long were you there?
In Rome, we were about there for maybe 5 days, but we were in Italy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm guessing even with 5 days, you probably still didn't get to see everything in Rome.
No.
That you wanted to. Yeah, there's just so much there. Maddalena, it's been great having you on the show, and we'd love to have you back as a guest sometime.
Thank you for listening to Rostra. You may check out all our episodes on Spotify and follow us on social media at GuerinJCL. That's at GuerinJCL.